Hello guys, it's your host from the Brett's Review Show. Let's fire up this review. Today's review is about the revival, the legend of Raikou, Suicune, and Entei. In Ecruteak City, here talks Uswin, who talks about seeing Suicune once. And we know that from seeing him talk in the anime during the Johto season, region anime, that he's obsessed with Suicune. And the legend about them, a legend about the burned tower. It was back then, during that time, there was a time of war, and it wasn't a fight that caused the fire in the burned tower. It was a bolt of lightning. A bolt of lightning had engulfed the tower in fire, like it caught fire, and in that process had trapped 3 nameless Pokemon at that current time before they were revived in the burned tower. Don't know what their original names were. Not at all. But that's the fun part of the mystery. The silhouettes look a lot different than the other Pokemon, or canine Pokemon that we've seen before. Those 3 could have originally come from a totally different region than Johto. Or they could have been a new breed of Pokemon in Johto during that time. No, they're not Flareon. They're not an evolution. They're not Flareon. They're not Vaporeon. They're not Jolteon. They're totally different Pokemon. And back then, like I said, state of war, a storm was what caused the fire. Lightning struck the building. It caught fire. 3 Pokemon were trapped and perished. And in that same storm, when the rain started, it put out the fire. When the fire was all gone, all put out, a rainbow light came from the sky, and out came the legendary Pokemon, Ho-Oh. And its great rainbow light, looking down at the remains of the burned tower were the bodies of those three Pokemon, those 3 nameless Pokemon. Everybody on the outside who watched this happen, watched the building burn down, couldn't do anything. They all were mourning for those 3 Pokemon. And when Ho-Oh made its appearance, it shone its light, and all of a sudden, the rubble covering the very bodies of those 3 legendary dogs and those nameless Pokemon all of a sudden were thrown off and destroyed. We see those 3 all of a sudden stand up, glow in what looks like an evolutionary light, a light of evolution, and their form begins to change. And they show themselves to everybody on the outside. They're alive, they're all new, should be happy, but no. They're all amazed. You see amazement, you see shock, that they couldn't believe that they were alive. And Ho-Oh let out a cry. And those 3 little Entei, Suicune, and Raikou also let out a cry. But the people couldn't really understand the power these Pokemon had towards life. So they responded in violence. They repressed it with violence. But did the Pokemon attack? Did Entei, Suicune, and Raikou attack? No. They all went their separate ways. Ho went its separate way. In a way, it's like they felt sorry for the people that attacked them. I mean, the legend of those three and the music during that episode fit the dime, basically. It fit for that time period. I'm going to go ahead and give this an 8.5 out of 10. That's my opinion. And, Uswayne says that he wants to see Suicune again. He says that the legend says, at the end of the legend says, when the Pokemon, those Pokemon, Entei, Suicune, and Raikou, get the feeling that they can trust people again, that they will come back. That they feel like the people are no longer afraid of them, that they'll come back. And that's what he wants. Uswayne wants to tell Suicune, seeing how Suicune is his obsession, that he wants to tell Suicune that there's people are no longer afraid of them, that they can come back. That there's no need for them to go off somewhere else. And in that moment, he felt something behind him. He heard something. Quickly he turned, and there stood Suicune looking directly at him. When he talked about his time when he first seen Suicune, it's like his will, like it felt his will to see it, that it made it happen, that it decided to show itself to him at that time. And at this point, it showed itself to him. And you're left to think that maybe Suicune was already there watching him. Maybe Suicune felt what he felt. And that's why Suicune appeared. But then when he took a step towards Suicune in amazement that it appeared, and he called out its name, because that, again, that's when, back then, that's what the people called him. Kept on calling him, sent to Suicune, Entei, and Raikou. That's what they called him. Because they didn't really have a name. Suicune jumped over him. He turned around to the other side of the building, and that's where Suicune stood. But Suicune disappeared in a sparkling bluish mist. Just all of a sudden gone. Like you see it, you blink, it's gone. And in due time, they'll probably show up again. I think this, for episode 6, The Awakening, about the legendaries Entei, Suicune, and Raikou, and how their connection to Ho-Oh, and their legend about their past, from their demise to their rebirth, as the Pokemon that we know them as now. I think that was a pretty awesome episode to watch. So that's why I give it an 8.5 out of 10. And that's all I have for you guys for right now. It's time to cool down and look forward for the next review. Peace.